Hey everybody, welcome to the Clydesdale CrossFitter and Friends. My name is Scott Switzer. I am the Clydesdale CrossFitter. So glad you could be with us. I have with me the full crew today, Amy, Charlie, and Kat. And so this week we are going to do an interview. We actually recorded it a few days ago with Dex Hopkins. What a cool dude he was. We're going to do that. Hilarious. Just 2 months after having a baby, got to see the little nugget at the beginning of the interview, and he talks glowingly about both his wife and the baby. And so I just wanted to thank the listeners real quick. As we're recording this, yesterday we had our largest download day ever as a podcast, and that's because of you, the loyal listeners, and all that you're doing for us. So thank you so much for that. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube or listening on your audio podcast. And leave a comment because we want to hear how we're doing, and hit that like button if you like what you hear. So thank you so much for all of that. And then how was the training weeks going?
Pretty good. I just did a workout this morning, though. It was 10 rounds, and it was run 200 meters, 3-bar muscle ups, one snatch, 3-bar muscle ups, and 5 strict handstand push-ups. And I ripped my hands in the last 2 muscle ups, but it was a hard workout, but it was good. My training's been pretty good this week. Yeah.
Anyone else have a good training week, or just Charlie says no?
Good one. I was pretty consistent this week as well. I think I took off today. Was supposed to do a 5K row with my training partner, and instead a third person came over, and the two of them did the 5K row, and I just kind of did some strict pull-ups and watched. So I was up all night last night, and I guess I'll divulge why. So I found out that my son has been sneaking out of the house to go see a female friend. And she lives like 30 minutes away. So last night I was on like a little reconnaissance mission to like catch him leaving the house. Of course, last night he decided not to go anywhere. I still slept on the couch and didn't get any sleep. So tonight, I'm hoping is the night. And I'm deciding whether I just wait until he's like out of the house for 20 minutes and then call him and try to figure out like where he is and see what kind of lie he'll come up with. Or do I hide in the back seat of his truck and then reveal myself? That way.
Stop the hope.
So if you'd like to weigh in, and we'll see what I decide to do. The issue's going down tonight or tomorrow night, and it's going to be fun.
I look forward to the update of that.
I'm going to need you in like a black Scully with like the sunglasses and the hood.
I was thinking about
face paint.
The tailgate. I told my daughter, I said, maybe I'll hide in the tailgate. She's like, Mom, that would be one heck of a ride down to, Middletown or wherever we're going. But we'll see. Stay tuned for that. But I'm
Well, that was much cooler than I expected for a story today.
Yes.
So, Charlie, yours hasn't gone well?
No. I don't know that I've seen any type of workout this week. So, yeah. This is my week.
I need to hear about your Carrie Pierce abs. Are they popping?
Well, they've reverted back to Carl Pierce abs. So,
that was my history teacher in 10th grade.
And how did he look?
Okay, point taken.
So I'll be getting back on that this week.
Okay.
As soon as this is over.
So for me, good news today is I front loaded some weight.
Okay.
Did some goblet squats with a 35-pound kettlebell. And so far, so good.
Back's feeling okay?
Back's feeling okay. We'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's when I'll truly know. But yeah, feels really good today. And most importantly, I have kicked ass this week on nutrition.
Good.
Macro stacks. I've been doing it all week.
Yeah.
Had A couple days where I got 2 buckets with the thumbs up.
Buckets.
I can't get all 3 for some reason. That just seems like an impossibility. But yeah, going well. My trifecta meals came in. Trying to figure out how to really prepare those correctly. The microwave doesn't seem to be the best alternative. So I think you have to cut them out and put them in a skillet with some stuff, but that's going okay. Really finding some foods with the recipes on MacroStacks that I am really digging. Just something totally different. Their beef stew is unreal. Chicken and rice was great. And then I'm doing some egg tacos that are out of this world. Now, the egg taco thing will be very difficult once this quarantine's over and I actually have to go to work.
Scott Radowski makes a mean egg taco.
Yeah, it's great. And if anybody has questions about that, shoot me a DM and I'll shoot you the recipes, man. They're phenomenal. So with that, let's turn it over to the Dex interview. Great interview. So glad we got him on here. One of the most fun hours I think we've ever spent on the show.
Almost 20. You don't just get to
Hey, Dex.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. I didn't think this is my second Zoom thing ever, so I'm still getting the hang of it as I'm still walking around my house.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, and I know there are views now. We get everybody. There we go. Yeah. I had to check on my wife's on the couch, but then this nugget's asleep.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
she's
look good.
cute.
Oh, she's something, man. I tell you what, it's been a time. She's good. She poops a lot, sleeps a lot.
I saw that it was on your chest earlier today.
Dude, look, was it today? No, that was yesterday. Days go together now. I think she had her 2-month shots. I think that I got I read that if which the cleanliness thing is times 10 since you have a baby. So there's never been a more opportune time for me to practice that than having a new baby and the world going crazy. But she got her 2-month shots. And they said, if you're not insane about washing your hands and whatever, then like the rotavirus stuff they give them, you could get some symptoms of like tummy virus stuff from. And I think I finally got it. So, spiked like a 102 yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been a rough 2 days. This is actually the first time I've been outside in 3 days. So, yeah. So if I look like Casper, that's why. But where are you guys? I listened to the one the other day with oh man, why can't I never remember the Australian guy's name?
Con Porter.
Shaking his hand many times. Yeah. I always want to call him something else. But yeah, I listened to his the other day. I didn't realize you guys were all spread out. Was it Delaware and where else?
So Amy and I are in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was close to there.
And then Kat is in Delaware, the state.
Cool. In a sweet, sweet home gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, we were in Kentucky, which I had never been to the Arnold before last year. We could talk about that. But I was in Kentucky for the longest time. We had like an affiliate, like just disgusting display of fitness home gym, like 15-foot rig outside, just could have a 6-person class at home if we wanted to. And we sold it all and moved here to Fort Worth for my wife's fellowship. And we just got rid of it. Like, no, didn't think twice about it. Just liquidate everything for no reason, just because we couldn't take it. And now, boy, I wish we would have stuck that in storage somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. Would have been a gold mine.
Oh, my God. I saw somebody trying to sell a rower for $3,000 on Facebook Market yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not looking for one, but I messaged them I got a screenshot of like road prices in my phone right now because we're about to, I think, make a home gym where we're moving, but apparently not because everything's out of stock. I just sent it to them. I was like, man, inflation's rough right now. But it's wild. I don't know. It's a wild time if you're trying to get a hold of fitness gear for sure.
Sure. So let's talk about fatherhood, since we started with a little glimpse of the little nugget from
oh man,
off the top. So brand new father, first time.
Yeah, first time. I don't know, man. I thought I'd done some things in my life, and like, in college I got to play in a national championship and CrossFit stuff, which is not that big a deal. But I sit and stare at a thing that is just so helpless she can't even move, and that is just enough.
It
You
is.
know, I've never been so struck or I don't know, man. And I love my wife. Don't get me wrong. She is. I felt love for that lady, and just been struck by her for years. But I don't know. It's so wild, and it's a little girl. I feel like that's very stereotypical. But she, and we tried for a while before we actually got pregnant, which we'll just chalk up to residency and stress. I think, try is a loose term. We weren't like everyday, sex bell going off, but we, I don't know. I think that's a thing, but it sounds sexy. But we found out she was pregnant right before her exit interview in her residency, which, my wife's a urologist, reconstructive urologist for a fellowship. So she is very specialized. And just, if you know anything about that process of med school residency, it's just insane. Right. And she is very type A, like most of those people are, very together. And she is lead sled dog of the sled dogs. So, she's there unnecessarily before everybody, just making sure the ship is righted and all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted before the day starts, just running it hot for 5 years, which I've always admired about her. But yeah, I think some things slide with that, right? Like you're a little more stressed out sometimes and stuff like that. She's always handled it with such grace, at least outwardly. And we never argued about it or anything. We just were like, hey, if it happens, cool. And so we acknowledged that hey, let's give it a shot. And then, it was about 2 years maybe. And then I was just like, look, if we get through with residency and it's still a thing, then cool, we'll do doctor stuff. But, I'm not going to freak out. I know the season we're in. And, sure enough, she comes home one day and I'm like a child myself. She brings me home candy every day. So it's, she brings home like candy and there's a card with it. And there was something in the card. And it was, her telling me she was pregnant, and I freaked out, and I'm a super emotional cat. Just boo-hoo, looking for a reason to drop these tears. I'll fill it up. But I cry, super cry. And I was like, blah, 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 so excited. And I was like, where's the other one? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, you take 2. She's like, I said, 2 come in the box. She said, well, I didn't take the other one. I said, oh, you take that tomorrow morning, because I know that's when you're supposed to take it. So she did, and it was cool. And then just because I want to be sure, because I've had some jobs, but I've never looked forward to the 2 I have now, just father and husband, as much as I have, man. And it's, especially the time we've gotten to steal back just for those 5 years, her kind of belonging to the hospital and then me finding things to belong to, just kind of diving into CrossFit and athletically and coach wise. It's, her going through maternity leave and then her pregnancy, mostly here, us having the baby, and then all this stuff happening kind of immediately after. We've been quarantined 3 weeks before all that stuff. And I've, life is pretty much the same. We're fortunate enough not to be super affected job-wise. The gym I'm at right now, the guy is doing a great job handling it. There's 3 of us on staff. But I get to hog her all day. Mom just went back to work. But, man, it was insane. I actually got to deliver her. There's so many highlights, it's hard to keep this stuff in order. But I actually got to deliver her, like hot seat, Peyton Manning under center. Pull her out.
Awesome.
It was so I have some friends that have tried this and they all passed out. And so I'm, if you guys are her, the doctor's standing over me and all she's doing is, hey, put your hands like this. And I'm like gowned up. Like I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so I know the deal.
You know how to do it.
Yeah. I come in, which is not a good joke to doctors because apparently that's not they said Scrubs is more like real life.
Okay.
But she, I'm gowned up. I got all the stuff. And I have no idea what to expect, right? Like I am 100% thinking I'm going to pass out because I have no kind of stomach for stuff like that. Like there's a big scar on my hand where I popped my hand open, like just, it looked like one of those little toys you give kids, like a skeleton hand. You could see all of it, and I almost passed out. And it was not that bad, relatively. But I sat down, and once they start, it's right in the fire. And she, I'm seeing what they're doing to kind of get her ready to start pushing, and she wanted to do the natural thing, which is awesome. She, we were super blessed. It went smooth. She is just savage. That's what I tell everybody. It was the most savage, beautiful time I've ever been through. Just, I don't see me ever getting into anything that I'm like, man, this is just a crazy time. But I'm in the hot seat, and all I can see is baby girls. And she came out with a head full of hair. She was 2 weeks late, so I guess that makes sense.
Oh.
But I can see from the time I could see just like hair, like I was there, and I go to pull her out. Her head comes out, and which was awesome, but the cord's around her neck. And like the lady says it out loud. I'm like, oh, do I need to move? And she's like, no, I got it. And she pops it out from around her neck. And I said, I've heard that this is a big deal. That was very cavalier. Just, this is every day at the office for you. And yeah, so we pulled her all the rest of the way out, and set her on my wife, and I cut the cord at that point. It's no big deal. That's like construction paper, easy money. And we just have a good old cry, and it's, you think you felt love for people, and I don't think there'll ever be anything anyone's ever could give me that'll make me feel the way I feel about just my wife and stuff now, man. It's just so beautiful. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with like a insanely good, just superhero of a mom. And I wasn't very close to my dad. So, kind of intentionally always wanted to be that and kind of fill holes in myself for our kid. And it's currently the most kind of overwhelming season of life. Just little things you appreciate, man. And just, I don't know, man. It's done so much for me as far as like, how I feel about her. And you think you're ready to defend some things until you have a kid, and you're like, oh, I would really put my hands on someone if anything happened to this kid.
And I think you almost like totally fall in love with your spouse again. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen her do some things I thought was just, residency and all of this. And, while she was in that, she always did the open and never failed to qualify for regionals. And, on like 2 hours of sleep the whole week. And the only workout she would do would be the open workout. And we just thought these were crazy things. And she labors for 12 hours and spits out a watermelon, and she just is good. We work out on the roof every day, or, not the last 3 days. Take that back. She has. I've been in the house. But it's something. I understand why my mom was so crazy growing up now. I've called and thanked her. Our families came into town, but it is something.
I mean, it's the most important thing you'll do in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you what, it's, I don't know, man. It's wild. Her name's Anna Keaton. Little turd, but she, it's fun, man. It's so fun. I've never been so happy to wipe butts and just stare at something that can't move. Well, she can't even do any tricks yet. And it's cool just to hang out. And so me trying to get in on the consummate Scottie Pippen to this Michael Jordan show. I don't have boobs, obviously. I can't breastfeed the baby. So I'm like, oh, we should definitely do bottles. So, you pump, will do the thing. I'll get in there. She will not wake me or even allow me to get out of bed at night, which is whatever. So I try to hog her all day. And that's just, the lady she is. She'll run it into the ground. But she, neither one of us have very much experience. We both have really good moms. But she has stepped into that role just seamlessly, man, like she's done it before. And it's cool to watch. And I hope she thinks I'm doing half as good a job as I think she's doing.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of the lady in your life, she's in the process of becoming a doctor, or is a doctor?
Oh, God, is a doctor. Yeah. So she, Marilyn went to med school at Ole Miss, we did residency at University of Kentucky in Lexington. And we had been married for 2 weeks when she started that. But she did residency there. And then at the end of that, kind of, quick trigger, we decided, a guy contacted her late notice and was like, hey, I have this position open for a fellowship where she's a urologist. And so in that surgery specialty, you can subspecialize, right? So like orthopedic guys can be a hand specialist. So this is reconstruction. So she does urethroplasties and, CrossFit reference, ladies to pee, she can fix that, stuff like that. But so we spent a year in Fort Worth, which is coming to a close. And I think we leave June 15th. But we'll move to Tupelo, Mississippi. It's where Elvis was born. That's about it. So,
Honey. It's known for honey.
Known for the honeys, mostly Elvis, I think. But it's cool, man. We're both from Mississippi. I'm from Jackson. She's from Macomb, which is way further south, or about an hour and a half. But so we're wrapping it up. We're on the back end of the training, so she'll get into practice. Yeah, and it's going to be a time. We're excited about that. We're just looking at decorating the house today, so which is hard. We're going from a 1-bedroom apartment, and we're gonna rent a house for a year before we buy one, I think, just to kind of make sure because we can't really go and see right now, so that kind of feels right. Thank God for DocuSign. So much technology now. But yeah, it's weird. So never saw that house, but we did sign a lease, so we're there for a year. But she'll be done, and she'll be in the normal swing. We'll see how spoiled we've been this year. I think during residency she averaged, I don't know if she ever realized I was keeping count, but I think she averaged about 110 hours a week. Like either on call or out of the house. And if you knew the lady, I'm telling you, it's terrifying. Like, I'm just real hard pressed to talk about how hard my days have ever been. But she, man, skated through. She probably wouldn't agree with that, but if you came in contact with her, she, never was ugly to anybody. She was still just the most kind of the biggest expression of just humility and loving on people that she could be, going through all that stuff. She might have scrubs with blood all over them on her, but, she was out there trying to love on people she wasn't at work or when she is at work. So I'm excited for all that stuff for her to end and kind of her to enjoy the fruits of it. And this year it's been like, it's very specialized. So her schedule's been just the exact opposite. And even more so with, maternity leave, obviously, and the COVID stuff, I'm just spoiled. So in June 15th or whenever that starts, that it'll be, back to kind of business as usual. But, I'm taking advantage as much as we can, man.
So she actually competed with you on a team.
Yeah.
And that was during her residency?
Yeah. So our entire kind of love story is hilarious. It's not hilarious. I think I was a jerk for so long in my life. When I met this lady, I knew that time was over. But we met, we started dating in September. I proposed that Christmas. We got married 6 months later. Then moved to Kentucky 2 months later, or 2 weeks later after we got married. And so that was 2014. We both went to regionals in South Central back when it was regular regionals. And I think she had gotten top 10, 12. The year before, she had gotten top 10 or 12 and 13. It was my first year, and I had gotten like 5th in the open, just crushed her in the open. And that was our thing, right? Like, we're training partners. I'm just no mercy on her every day. And she'll get me in some things, but just giving her shots. We loved it. And we had a big group. And we got a regional. She destroys me. I am just trash bag water. I get like 22nd. I just wasn't good. And the next year, we moved to Kentucky. I'm fortunate enough, we just clicked really well with all the people at the gym. I joined their team. Her intern year, she was unable to do it. Actually, like, go and be on the regionals team and go and be on the games team. But she qualified individual through the open. In Central East. And not a weak region for girls or guys. And she would come in. I wouldn't see her, right? Like, and that year you have to be in hospital. They don't, you don't have a year under your belt for them to get to know you. They don't trust you to go home. So you're on call in the hospital. And she would come to Friday night, or she would come to the open announcement late Thursday night, maybe. Or she would just text me and be like, I'll love this one, or I hate it. Friday night lights, she would come, change out of her scrubs, drop her bag, row a 500, start the workout. And that would be the only workout she did all week, maybe. So she would just pay for it, just feeling like trash till the next Thursday. Do it again on Friday night lights. Didn't have the option of redoing it just because her life is insane. She's on that rotation. You're doing every kind of surgery. So I want to say she was on ER for the open. So she's seeing all the crazy stuff, like just like motorcycle accident guys, which I wanted a motorcycle at the time. It's the only ones I ever heard about. Oh, let me tell you about this guy that broke his pelvis. Still with that motorcycle? Yes, I do. But yeah, she's a specimen, man. And if you know her, you know that about her. If she is into anything, she is neck deep in it and wants it to be just a peak expression of whatever she's doing. And I mean, if you talk to her about what she does for a living, there are no females in this field, or very few. And if you ask her why she got into urology, it's, she wants to help people, obviously. That's why you get into being a physician, but it's a super competitive field, very hard to match. And the subspecialties in, if it tells you anything about it, there in Mississippi, there's not one. So she'll be the authority for reconstructive urology in Mississippi. So, does not surprise me watching it, kind of in the middle of it, because I judged all the workouts. I'm the biggest fan, but she's a psycho. And so we get to go to that year, 2015. We qualified. It was in Minneapolis. We qualified, went to the games. We ended up getting 7th. She couldn't go, which, breaks her heart, I know. She was happy for me. And then 16, she was on the regionals team, which was awesome because it's the first time we ever got to be on the team on the floor together. And we ended up missing it. I think we got 6th by 4 points. Something like one of those situations, like, classic legless rope climb, no rep kind of deal. But 17, they opened up the recruiting stuff. We had some friends that weren't, interested. They were retiring kind of. And we needed a third guy. Zach Souter was our third guy in 16, and he wanted to go individual. And he did. Actually, no, he had a PT or an occupational therapy thing that took him away. So we brought in Darwin Perez that won the Central East Open that year. And then Melissa Doss, who was just perennial, insane lady, right?
Yeah.
Like she's tall, and she could lift all the weights and do all the gymnastics. She was a freak.
She came came into our gym and did one of the open workouts when she was in town for the Arnold. So,
I love that lady. She's I don't think any of us knew her very well. I think if you know Instagram Doss, maybe pre-baby and all that stuff, you could kind of make some assumptions. Just she loves the grams, but her heart for people. She's one of the sweetest people. Did not regret that decision at all. Great teammate. Psychopath, will push you and yell, just crazy. But she's great. And so we smash the open. We have a great time. Darwin was really good that year, obviously. And we go do really well at regionals, have an awesome time. I boo-hooed after that just because I wanted her to go so bad because I know it hurt her heart in 2015 to miss out. And we go qualify, and Doss breaks her leg that year.
Yeah.
And I was right behind her. That was to date the scariest or grossest thing I've ever seen in sports.
Wow.
It was like what's the guy that plays for the Celtics that broke his leg?
Oh, yeah.
Gordon Hayward.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, it was like that. So she was on the pegboard, and her feet were as high as like a rower when you stand it up, about 7 feet. And she just dropped, and she kind of went sideways a little bit, and the pad was too small, like it was like the top of a box. And she just rolled her ankle, but from 7 feet up, and it just took it off her leg. And it's just the grossest thing I've ever seen. And, it was 3 weeks before the games or something like that, maybe a month. So, we had to bring in a substitute that really changed the tone of that trip. So we went from and with my experience coaching and going to do the dance, like that was a very, very talented team to go into the test we had at the games that year, and we would have been really good because that strategies would have been a lot different. But and just, man, I tell you what, we going when you have people that are all really good friends, no matter what, is the super priority, even more so now for me, especially the way it is. And so it was nuts. And, she got to go. It was a little different experience than we were hoping, because if she is going, I'm talking about Marilyn, if she's going, she's expecting to go win. Boy, she'll talk about regionals in 2013. She had just started CrossFit, had no idea about regionals, any of that. I think that was before everybody had like clothing sponsorships and wore nanos and stuff. If you guys could see the setup I have right now, you'd laugh at how this phone's turning. But she's like, I look like somebody's Aunt Karen out there in just my loose shorts and my New Balance running shoes. I didn't even have nanos, and I fully expected to go win. She said, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to win. I was a high-level gymnast. I'll go in and win this. Sure, I'll go to the games, whatever. And I think she ended up getting like 8th or 9th first year. And that was 2013 when it was like the murder your spine, just really see if they could kill your CNS that year with the heavy deadlift box jump workout, 3-rep max overhead squat that year. So if she's going, she wanted to win. But after Doss broke her leg, it kind of changed the tone. So we went and just really kind of did the walk slow, try to soak it up thing, just together. We got to be partners, man. We did there's some funny pictures of us doing a assault bike partner deadlift workout where I dropped the bar on her toe, I'm pretty sure. She'll yell at me. I love to rest. Just resting is my favorite. And she does not. So she'll go, man. Till the wheels fall off, she'll do it. But I don't know if she can hear me, but she's looking at me. Oh, she's eating that's my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, ma'am. Not anymore. But yeah, if she's going, she wants to win. And we had a good time. She PR'd her clean and jerk. I think she clean and jerk 235 or 40 that year. And, it was a good kind of, I don't know what this year's going to look like for her. She's just started back training, and she'll tell you she's a slob, but she looks great. I was like, look, coach hat on, husband hat off. You look great, moving well. I know what you just did. I was closer to it than you were. Right? So let me tell you how much better you're doing than I thought you were going to do.
So speaking of regionals and games, though, you look a whole lot different now than you did when you were competing.
Yeah. So I sold the beard to charity that September that year. And then my hair, she will tell you that hair and beard, awesome, keep it. But boy, when I shaved that beard, I came home, she was like, you don't look like my husband. I was like, this is what I look like when you married me. Like our first date, I looked like this. But and the hair I cut in May last year, I want to say. It's been a while. It was right before her exit interview. And so I wish I had some deep, meaning to grow in my hair and beard. I just did not cut my hair or shave my beard until residency was over. But I do miss the hair. I don't miss my beard. But there's a lot of awkward and hats between short hair and that length. But it was good to change. Everybody thought she got a new husband when we went to her exit interview. I forget that everybody in Kentucky had never met me with a face or, seen what my head was shaped like. And even more so that year, I went to Rogue and Coach Chandler. It was my first time doing that, and it was awesome because usually folks want to. I used to think it was hilarious that people wanted to come up and take pictures, and I knew it was just because this big gross. You wanted to see if it smelled bad or if I hid things in there or if you could hide in there. Just long shadow casting beard, and I thought it was hilarious. Or they thought I was like a taller Jared Stevens, but it was so funny. I had to reintroduce myself to a lot of people that I had known for 5 years. It was hilarious. They would stand there and talk to me, and I wouldn't say anything at first. They'd be like, man, I know you. I was like, yep. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I got your number in my phone, sir. Keep going. But it was fun, man. It's not bad. And I tell you what, I can't imagine having it now because, I used to laugh at people and they were like, when's the last time you took a shower? I was like, I get it now. It's a few days. And I don't want to drop her. I don't want her to roll off of anything. She just started rolling, or not just. But now she's getting to where she's a little active, like those fetal kick and arms. And I can't imagine having to put my hair up all the time or whatever. I didn't really wash it that much when I had it anyway. That's what was funny is I'd be at the gym coaching, And, you know, all the ladies like, oh, what do you do to your hair? I was like, you don't want to know because it's nothing. Like, nothing. I wash it once every 8th day. All right. Tell me you want to do that. And you don't. I know you don't. So leave the straightener and blow dryer at home and you'll be all right. But it was gross, probably on the inside. But I miss the hair. Beard I don't miss.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, I'm way more in shape without it because we went to France with my first 4-person team and first competition without the beard and hair.
Yeah, we got a question for you about that soon.
Oh, go ahead.
What, Scott?
So we were actually due to interview Brooke about an hour ago.
Yeah.
But she had to dump out on us, and we're doing it later this week. But she told us to ask you about France. That there's a great story there.
There's a lot of great stories.
I asked her for dirt on you, and she said, ask him about France.
Is there dirt on me? I mean, other than like the hotel rooms we stayed in, I basically had to spoon Christian. But what was there dirt on me? I don't know if it was dirt. It's me and her. So there was an event. Now, mind you, none of us have ever met. Or I've met Brooke at the Arnold. I was doing media work just because, you know, Instagram's always been my favorite game, and you know, you learn cameras and fun stuff. And so a company approached me to work that. So I go there, meet her. And, you know, she is really, really talented in the fitnesses. And she just does not want to do individual. She individually talented, has all the work capacity, strength, whatever crazy in her brain, whatever you need for that. But and I think like-minded, like myself, it's more fun to do team. On terrible days, I feel way more motivated to go in and do stuff if I have 3 other people depending on me or whoever else. And it's just more fun to share with people, I think. And so we talked about that, and, you know, we're like, man, I feel the same way, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, we can do a team. I will cast a wide net. I was like, I know a few people that want to get down with this. And she's like, all right, cool, let's do it. So, and she had qualified that year Indy. And so we go. I email, it was supposed to be me, her, Chandler, and Kelly Baker. Chandler Smith and Kelly Baker. Chan can't go because he would have had to choose between France and something else, you know, and I didn't want that on my conscience. And so Christian fills in. First time we'd all worked out together, which was awesome because we were all good buddies, me and Christian, super similar. I'm just way less tan and jacked. Her and Kelly are just 2 peas in a pod, and we all just have the most fun, man. And that, you know, is a real high priority for me. And the first event was in pairs. Me and Brooke are a pair. CH and Kelly are a pair. First pair runs a mile, 500-meter paddleboard. I've never paddleboarded in my life. Hate water unless we're like pedal boating. I don't like that. Water sports, too big for that. And so I was like, hey, how do you want to do this? She was like, just go, because you didn't have to stay together. And we asked. We said, hey, do you have to stay together? And the judge was joking, and he was like, hey, you know, when they're doing the brief, he's like, you know, reading the rules out. We said, hey, do you have to stay with your partner? Because her and I are sprinters. CH and Kelly are the long track horses. Me and her, it's good for 400 to a mile. CH and Kelly will run a marathon without training for it. And so we, you know, very plain English. Hey, do you have to stay with your partner? He laughs. He's like, well, you'd be a jerk if you didn't. I was like, say no more, sir. All right. And I said, hey, how do you want to do this? She's like, take off. I was like, all right, cool. She knows how to paddleboard. She didn't tell me that. So I take off. I think I PR'd my mile. I don't think it was a mile, but I'm going to take it because I didn't track it. But ran really fast, get to the water. Just everybody catches me. It's comical. I was fully recovered. I'll tell you that after a 500-meter paddleboard, fully recovered. I'm on my knees, which, you know, everybody's on their knees, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not sticking the thing in the water very much. She apparently grew up on the water like Kevin Costner in Waterworld and just speedboats around this thing and gets out, takes off. Awesome. I get out, take off, try to catch her. I don't. I pass a lot of people and a lot of people that I'm, you know from the space, which is hilarious because I ran better than I'd ever run. It was absolutely a performance PR for me running. But she gets back, Kelly and Christian take off, and I'm right there. And I guess they didn't see us come up together, but some people had gotten like kind of butthurt thinking that we had kind of cheated their system because you had to wait on both people to get back before your other pair could take off. And we ended up doing pretty well in that event. And I mean, we didn't qualify. We ended up getting second overall. But well, I wonder what else she was talking about. I'm gonna have to call her. But we, I don't know. We had fun in France, man. It was everything else we did pretty well on. And we just had a good old time. And we had such a good time that we ran it back in Ireland, which was even better.
Yeah, and you guys were the first team to qualify this year
for the Not Games 2020, baby. God, we went to that one. I'd never been to Ireland. My wife got to come to that one, she's a trooper for flying. Hey, whoever let her on that plane, you brave soul. What was she? She was very visibly pregnant. And they let her on the plane. She came. And we did not have a hot start. It was a running workout to start with some weird legless rope climb stuff, which logistically I don't know. It was a sexy event, but it had rained, as it apparently constantly always does in Ireland. It's just disgusting. Landscape, beautiful. Weather really fights that. But it was a run to ropes. Ropes have been getting rained on, which, okay, cool. Everybody's got to do it. Can't be that upset. And we didn't have a hot start to that one. And then once we got inside, though, it was just our party to ruin. And we did. It was first event. I think we stroked everybody. It was Synchro Grace, and then Synchro Isabel. And that kind of set the tone for everything that would be inside. And we just kept the ball rolling the whole weekend, man. It was so much fun. And then my wife was there, which was awesome because she has had to miss a few, and she was able to come just because of how the schedule was. And we had the most fun, man. And there was some talent there. Because we weren't in first till the last day. I don't think we took first. We won the first workout on Sunday. I think that put us in first, and we kept it the rest of the time.
So where did the name MeatSquad come from?
Well, I've always felt like just Andre the Giant of CrossFit. So we went in 2014. Now, Marilyn's 5'2". Her dad, 5'5", 6. Mom's 6 foot, sister 6 foot. My mom's 6 foot. Tall families. I'm 6'2", 220, 215 if I'm eating broccoli that week. And Christian's 6 foot plus, 215. Brooke and Kelly will tell you they're meatballs, but they're not very tall. But I don't know, man. I take it very seriously, but I also take the going to have fun very seriously. And nothing made me happier in France than to hear somebody say ROMWOD MeatSquad over the PA. And then Greg is the MC that was at both of these events. And I know Greg really well through Misfit. He was an athlete for a long time and just a good buddy I've had since we've been in the space for a while. And it didn't matter if we were in last place, he still would have yelled it. But just in his like French Canadian accent, boy, it was hilarious. And it's just funny, man. I don't know. It sounded really good with ROMWOD. What was it supposed to be? In France, it was supposed to be Meat Market. And like, I think when I started CrossFit, I used to come up with names that I used to try to see if they would email me to change. One time it was Two Pootie Tang one time. It was insane. But yeah, it was cool. I feel like, if some stuff happens, just some merch opportunities with that, it could be so cool. So, and it just fits our group of friends. If you ever, especially after the event, if we do well and we go out, it just makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just a meaty squad. None of us look very traditional CrossFit athletes.
Yeah, we're the Clydesdale CrossFitters, so we get that.
I'll tell you what, so you put that up and you tagged me, which was cool because I had never seen it. And me and Chris Walker, my best friend from Lexington, is 6'4", 6'5", 220. Just our thing since I moved there has always been like Clydesdale class or Clydesdale this. And I'd never seen anybody else use it. And I was like, I knew it. I knew somebody was going to get this one day. But yeah, so that makes me happy. Like oh man, who did I talk to? Joel that does as many reviews as possible. I was like, man, what do you think about like a Clydesdale review for, the plus size CrossFit athlete testing all these products? Because it's different for us. Everybody's not Chris Spieler. He's like, oh man, I think that'd be great. And look at me, I'm too late. You already got it. So.
Yeah, I actually came up with the name because where I grew up, they used to run races, and they had a Clydesdale division.
Mm-hmm.
In those runs, if you were over 225 or 220 or something like that, you got to race as a Clydesdale.
I need that. I wish the first year I went to regionals, it was the year they had Nasty Girls V2. I wore a belt and lifters to do pistols, if that tells you anything about it. And I had never been so mad. I think it started with handstand walk and snatch, and I was in like 6th after the first 2 events. I was like, oh man, I'm probably gonna qualify. No, I probably got last on that 3rd workout that day and got out of the last heat. But it was just so funny to find that, man. I sent it to Chris. I was like, did you know about this? He said, no, I've never seen it. I was like, I'm really upset because we've been had. This is a great name. Yeah. It was so funny. It was that and Burley Boys. Yeah. We had Burley Boy jerseys the last year they had regionals. But yeah, man, Clydesdale's been a 5-year, 6-year long standing thing for me and the big fellas I trained with.
Well, I actually met you. I worked regionals in the Central Regional for years, both security, and I judged the last year they had regionals there.
Oh, I definitely talked to you then. I try to make sure I talk to everyone.
Yeah, you are one of the friendliest guys that I've met in CrossFit.
Well, dude, it doesn't make sense. Like, hey, I've never been that cool, first of all. But like, if it's a thing where, I know how many volunteers it takes to run that thing, and most of the time that means they're not getting, you get a sweet pair of shoes. But there's probably some cat yelling at you or not being very nice. And seeing people that, I know that you live with your mother and you do fitness full time as a professional athlete, and you're so cool that you can't be nice to people. It makes me go out of my way to like everybody involved. You deserve to get loved on, and so it was never such a serious thing, even at just my peak expression, to not shake a hand or tell somebody thank you for doing it, or just, be nice to everybody involved. I get that it's serious, but there's like 4 people that can do it for a living. And so you being so serious with your headphones on in the back, just gearing up to go do a snatch, man, like it just, it never made much sense to me. So that makes me happy. Makes me feel nice.
In 17, I worked the warm-up area and then the chute to the floor. So I got to watch your Maximus team do, and you guys crushed it that week. In 17.
Yeah, we had so much fun. And I liked seeing her, being on the team with her, and then seeing us do well, does a lot for me. Just because I think supporting role just kind of through the first kind of season of our marriage has been my thing. And so us getting to just something that brought us together, and we were just on a real high that whole week. And I think we needed to win a workout to qualify. Actually, I think we were in 6th on the last day. And because we had not anything, thruster workout with the worm came out too hot, we blew up. A few other ones, but I know the first one on Sunday, we won the whole event. It was that dumbbell overhead squat one. And it was the first time I'd ever been split screen with Rich. And 1, I've never looked so tall. And 2, I don't know if I've ever done reps faster than him, but that was cool. It's the first time we ever got split screen. Felt real cool. And then they do the same thing with them. And we ended up winning that event, and that kind of punched the ticket, because I want to say we just pooped the bed on the last one. Not so much that we put ourselves out, but boy, that last one that day was not our cup of tea. But yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like in football, when I used to play, I was so locked into, man, it's the most important thing I'm ever going to do. These moments don't ever come back, blah, blah, blah. And they don't. I think it's important to soak those things up. But I don't think it's so important to give it so much power that like it, who you are or what you're about changes as you go through it. I think I can go and, the work's done at that point. Like I can be focused and have a good time and still be a human, and then walk through those events, and it not be any kind of detriment to my performance or or whatever, and I think that the times in your life when people are going to want to shake your hand and think you're cool, maybe take a picture or high five you, whatever, are just so far few and in between that, I don't think you want to be a cat that said no, or people be like, yeah, man, I tried to get his autograph or shake his hand one time and he's a dick. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, and I think in 18, I was in your lane for the 333.
I had eaten so many vegetables leading up to that to get skinny. That was the only funny event. Well, I was pumped that year because everybody on the team everybody's retiring, blah blah blah, having babies. Okay, cool guys, I'll try to do individual. And so I'm top 10 in the open until week 5. I show up to Friday Night Lights. I'm like, all right, cool, we'll just get it done. Because, traditionally every 5th week we would all do Friday Night Lights, like have a big team heat, like a whatever thing. Just because, normally we would all do it when we train at 1 o'clock and everybody would judge everybody and tape and this, that, and other. And so I was late because I had to coach. I came in and dropped my bag. I think I did 4 thrusters with a bar, started the workout. I ended up having to do it like twice that Monday. Still chest to bar are not my thing, and I'm tall. So even my best thrusters are still terrible. And I hate that kind of workout. But so I bombed that one. You go from I think I was 11th to 22nd. Bombed. And I was like, and I was working on Misfit Athletics at the time. Seth and Drew were coaching me. And I, was in really good shape. I'd done the most hardcore nutrition I'd ever done. I think I was 208, which is not a happy me. Real jacked. I look really hungry. But just too skinny for me and my happiness. And it was just for that workout, which makes no sense because it's 1. But we go to plan it. And running is not for 3 miles, not on that runner.
Not on that assault runner. No way.
I tell you what, I would rather run on that than outside. And that sounds sick.
Yeah.
But in my brain, I work if I can see it on a rower, if you said, hey, man, we're going to do 15 1Ks, got to row 135, I can keep it close to a number. But if I run outside, in my brain, I am just Usain Bolt flying. In reality, I am old lady mall walking, just Olympic power walker. But because I don't have a metric and I guess, training experience wise and athletic background, I'm a sprinter. So running a 130, 400, I have no relativity to that at that point. Or, CrossFit experience was it. And so Seth was like, how do you want to plan this? I was like, look, man, I'm going to win the row. I'm going to win the double unders. And I'm going to get on the runner first and see what happens. He's like, that sounds like a terrible idea. I was like, well, look, let's think about it this way. If I pace the row and I get on there, I'm probably still going to run the same way. Excuse me. But it was true. Which is not funny or not smart. I think that year I used the kind of going to have a good time and stuff as a crutch to not, put that much into it emotionally. And not to say it wasn't a big deal to me. It was. I just individually, man, I just could never, I guess the crazy in my brain switch just would never flip for me to go and just lay it out there or pursue that. I've seen Kenzie Riley, really good friend, my sister. She came off of a team. Actually, I want to say we qualified higher than we should have in 15 because a girl on their team blew her knee out in the last event. But on OC3's team. But, she made the switch, and she's just monster, real technical or methodical with her approaches. And to me, in the open, hometown crowd, I'll show out in front of our people, and we would go to regionals, and I would just all right, we're going to have fun, see what happens. And I just, I'd get out there, and I'd be like, man, you have gone really fast for a minute. You deserve this rest. You look great. And I would.
Rest.
And when I'm by myself, I can, right? It's not letting anybody down. And I think maybe I was too much of a realist, or I just didn't put all my own eggs in my own basket that I thought I could qualify. Because if you talk to Drew and Seth and all the guys, just for years, there was nothing I couldn't do, right? Deceptively good at gymnastics for a big guy. CrossFit strong. I mean, my long game was lacking, but I want to say that's mostly because of, I hate to say give a shit, but, my brain doesn't like to work past 20 minutes of fitness. And that's different now, right? Like that's what I tell people is just, I think for years, me and the boys, we beat into people's heads, go fast, hold on, then max intensity all the time thing. And that was my thing because I love to hurt. Like, let's do 50-cal assault bike sprints. Awesome. But please, God, don't make me run 2 miles or a 5K. And I was so impressed in France with Christian being a very similar athlete. We're both really good at gymnastics for big guys, just off movement quality. Both move a bar really well. And the difference was I could sprint and he could sprint. That was my thing, and they had to run an 8K, the other pair on that event, right? Me and Brooke ran the mile. Him and Kelly ran an 8K. I want to say he ran a 7:15, 7:20 mile for an 8K. And I said, what are you doing? Is that a joke? And he showed me his watch. I said, all right, cool. So I had just met Jason Lydon, who I work with now and have since. And the approach is way different. And I'm a nerd, right? Like, I'll let you get your spiel out, and I'm a big prove it to me guy. Don't sell me anything. Just kind of tell me, or show me. And that proof in the pudding for him running that, I was like, all right, what have you been doing? And he said, man, Jason coaches me. So I talked to Jason and started working with him. And he programs similar to the way I do. It's very structural and very well thought out, and a big base build up. And, which is so weird to say, but I think 4 days a week I'll run at least a 5K now. And it doesn't bother me. Tide actually goes by pretty fast. But I'm more aerobic at this point than I've ever been. And then when we went to Ireland, it showed, because in my brain, I'm like, man, you haven't sprinted. You're going to be trash when it's time to kick on the fast gear, whatever. But I wasn't. It was still there. We had a great time. Being aerobic to me, it was still kind of a new thing, or doing aerobic work. But I've enjoyed it, man. My body feels good other than this poo-poo show from all the baby stuff, which I think poo-poo show because, they said it's so weird the things you read when you have a baby. I Googled, I said, could my kid's poop get me sick?
Yes.
And yes is the answer. Yes,
Fecal
it is.
oil.
But yes, and my wife works with poop, so I should know that.
Can, yes.
Hey, will you throw me that thing of Pedialyte?
Oh, no.
I want to see her pull off a magic trick. She's feeding the baby.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. Just making sure.
Thank you, baby. Oh, God. Nolan Ryan? Okay. Yeah.
But you've mentioned coaching. So is that what you do mostly for your career is training for
So I always tell people I coach for a living and I athlete for fun. So when I met her, I had taught high school, coached football a little bit. I was a history major, and just when I played football, I was such a trash athlete that I had to work really hard. And I had a mom that was, I was fortunate enough to have a mother that was really honest with me. She was like, look, you're not very – I was in 7th grade. I'll never forget it. I was a quarterback, and they had a kid that was way more athletic than me starting. I was like, hey, I was pissed. I was like, they're not starting me. She's like, you're not any good. She's like, you spend your time riding your bike instead of going to throw and practice. Like, what do you think that kid does? He goes and throws. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, Mom. And but I handled that well, and addictive personality-wise, I guess I got really one-track minded into things. So if I was trying to do it, that was it. I'm probably to a fault, but so I did that with football, and I love the game. I love what it did for me, what it taught me as a man, as an adult, and all the crossover from life. And history sounded way better than PE when you told people, so I did that, and I did it for a year, man. And just kids were not the same. Like, I feel like if I told some kids any kind of resemblance to something my mother had told me, just that was a hard truth, that they would cry and I would be fired and probably burned at the stake, just because, you get good at football by playing Madden now or making TikToks. But they didn't have that then, but probably. But it broke my heart. And so I quit. And I got a job at a normal gym for a year under the assumption that this man was going to affiliate. I'm going to check my phone battery real quick. Oh, we good. I was prepared. Uh-oh. There we go.
That was cute.
Under a
We got
regular
a quick
gym.
glimpse of the before and after picture.
Yeah.
What was that?
When you
What was
checked
it?
your phone, it was your picture with your beard and your hair.
That's great. It's like when you have to cancel a phone or a credit card, you have to go through and change all that stuff, and I just haven't. I have no idea what picture is on this. But I got a job at a regular gym, which, retrospectively was awesome opportunity. Got paid for my cert. I never would have had $1,000. I was super broke. I think I had turned my aunt's garage into an apartment to live in while I was teaching, saving money. So I moved to North Mississippi. Guy was talking about putting me on salary, and man, we're going to open an affiliate. This is going to be your baby. The only thing I know about CrossFit at this point is that I love doing it. I have no idea how to coach. All I know is that I've read every CrossFit journal they have on the internet, and fired up about it, like you are the first few years, right? Honeymoon phase. Let me tell you about it, brother. We rip our hands. It's real dirty. We do crazy stuff and throw up. But he pays for my cert, ends up not being the thing, so I move home. And from there, man, I think I've always had a heart for loving on people one way or another, whether it was just, speaking to you or sharing something I'm passionate about. And that just checked a lot of boxes for me every day. Not to say every day it was fitness, we would come in and people would talk to me about stuff that had nothing to do with fitness. And I think that's a real vulnerable spot and just a invaluable spot for people to put you in if you get that sense of trust and community and kind of safe space with people. And that's what coaching did for me. So I started coaching at Mississippi CrossFit. The first class I ever coached was the interview. Lady had no idea, and I didn't tell her. And she couldn't tell, so why should I? But I was there for a while, and I met the lady I'm married to, my baby mama. And she told me that she was in medical school and that she was probably going to move in a year. And I was, without thinking twice, said, I'll go with you, whatever. We'll get married. And we did. And we moved to Kentucky. And I was at CrossFit Maximus, which was – that's a loud truck. CrossFit Maximus, which was just a different animal than I'd ever been around. They had 3 gyms, locations, 20,000 square feet. They had 700 members, multiple coaches on staff. And I'm used to being the show pony with a buddy or two that coached. I'd only ever hired 2 guys, Caleb Gressett and Vic Sanders, who are still like my little brothers, who are awesome and doing stuff now. Vic actually runs a gym or helps run a gym in Louisville, Derby City, where I was. And Caleb's actually in chiropractor school. Only 2 guys I've ever hired. And so I moved there, and Maximus is insane. And I, learning on the fly to kind of wrestle a bigger bear was awesome. And there was some learning curve for sure, especially some emotional maturity stuff and the business side of it, just because I was super spoiled and didn't have to do that at Mississippi CrossFit. We were fortunate enough to have a front desk lady who was that was her bread and butter. And learned a lot of things that I will take and put into practice, learned a lot of things I won't. But just I've made some relationships there, man, like Nate and Erica Spitz, and all those people are so good to me and my wife for those 5 years, for the most part. And, there's some friendships we'll take with us down the road. And, it was just I've loved coaching just because all the things I thought I was going to get out of coaching with kids and more, it's given me, and just the opportunities and stuff. And I want to say that I've made all these things happen, but it's been just through almost pure dumb luck that I've been put in the places I've been put in, and I hope I've taken advantage to the max. That's why I tell everybody, I'm super lucky to be married to the lady. And there's no doubt in my mind that where I am is where I'm supposed to be because of things like chain of events in my life that have happened that are just so, there's no other way to explain it than right place, right time, and just being super blessed to have been there. And it's weird. Because I don't know if I wouldn't have met her and got married, wouldn't have moved, I'd still be at home. Mississippi CrossFit's not open anymore. And so who's to know what I'd be doing. But, 5 or 6 years later, I'm neck deep in it. I feel like I have a wealth of experience for people and coaching, and still I'm still learning, still, I think you always feel like you have that being scared of the imposter syndrome stuff where you feel like, do I actually know as much as I think I know? Probably not. But it's been good, man. I always have a hard time putting it into words, but I just loving on people is my favorite. If we get to do some fitness, that's cool too. But under this umbrella, it's really, freed me up on a pretty selfish endeavor to go and do that with just a huge kind of spectrum of people that I normally wouldn't have got to come into contact with.
That's a great way to look at it too, because like loving on people has to be number one, and then everything else will fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things I can't let pass by is early on in the conversation you said you played in a national championship game.
So I played D2 football, Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi. Can't believe you don't know where that is. But no, we were good, man. I had never been on a good team until I went there. I played junior college ball in Mississippi. The first Last Chance U, I got my butt whooped by that team 2 years in a row. But I went to Delta State. I was a quarterback when I signed, and just our offenses were way different than what I was coming out of. So I got moved to like tight end, just offensive utility player, real Cordell Stewart slash. But we were really good. And we went to the national championship. We played to dream, play on ESPN. My mom was there. It was awesome. Had a mohawk, looked like an idiot. It's about 255 pounds, just angry 20-year-old. And we lost by a field goal. It was at that point, just the worst thing I possibly thought could happen to me, as you do at that time. But yeah, it was insane. A lot of Uncle Rico stories from that. We got beat by a team from the north. It was wild.
And the last question I have for you is, I actually, in my research of you, I found a podcast you did with Chandler. And the highlight for me was you ripping him for his treat choices. He was eating Reese's Fast Breaks, and you were like, there's only one Reese's product. It is the peanut butter cup.
Yeah. And
So-
I'll tell you, the only acceptable versions are eggs and any of the holiday ones. Maybe that's why I like doing teams, because I can eat candy still. It's like candy. You do individual, boy, you can't eat candy. That's not true. But Chandler loves old man candy. Like I don't know if he can pass a 7-Eleven and not get like a Slurpee or whatever they call them, whatever they only have at 7-Eleven.
Yep.
That guy loves a slushie. But he loves fast breaks, and it's disgusting. Like, I can't think of a grosser old man candy than like the little peanut things. Maybe that's more gross. But we have this argument all the time. And I actually have it with my wife too, because she loves the Reese's peanut butter cups with the pieces in them, which is blasphemy.
Oh.
It's not broke.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Yep.
But yeah, big candy guy. That's what the treats I was talking about. She brought me home when she told me I was gonna be a dad. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh yeah.
So is that the number one treat if you could pick anything?
I wouldn't call it a treat, like multivitamin. Something to take every day. No,
What about the little minis, Dex?
I could get with any version. So the most disgusting
Okay.
display of dedication is, around Valentine's Day in Target, they'll have it's 1 pound of Reese's cup, but it's half a pound per thing. I've eaten the whole pound walking around Target. The shame scan when you have to just bring the lady the wrapper. You're like, yeah, shame scan. That's what that's called. And what's funny is because when we first got married, I used to we'd go to the grocery store. I'd open a drink and drink it while we walk around, right? Like, no big deal. I'm going to pay for it. I didn't grab it and get out. But she would freak out. Boy, you're stealing. Now, especially when she was pregnant, she would go in and she would get dried mangoes or her thing, or what's that? It's like fake healthy popcorn, salty pop or something weird
Skinny
like
Pop.
that. Yeah, skinny pop. That's it. She'd get, but the one with salted caramel sugar all over it, and she would get it hammer the bag
Amazing.
or anything like that. Yeah, she would hammer that and then have to do the shame scan, which is great. But yeah, man, it's shame scan. That's 100% what that is. If that's not a term, it should be.
I love it.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yep.
Well, those are the questions I had for you, man. This has been a fun hour.
Yeah, man. Oh, it has been an hour. Good Lord.
Super fun.
Yeah, and I looked at the email to like cover my butt, and I was like, oh man, cool, because I told you I haven't been feeling very good, so I still hanging out on the couch, and I looked at the email. I was like, oh, there was a second one you sent where it was like, we said 2 p.m. Eastern. I was like, and that's in 15 minutes here, so I better get up.
Oh.
So that's when I emailed you. Yeah. I said, oh man, that link is not in here. So. Yeah, man, but it's I appreciate you guys having me, man. It's I always love doing these, and they're always a good time, especially when it's Clydesdale, just so near and dear to my heart.
Well, it is.
Oh,
go ahead, Kat.
No, I was just gonna say you just have such a positive brightness about you. It's really refreshing to talk to somebody that's just got such a great outlook.
I appreciate it, man. It's I try my best, and as I told somebody this the other day, I think, especially like the way the world is now, I think you're either a victim of the energy you hold on to and put out now, or you're getting to like a really relaxing time. And I think that's the anxious part, and I've talked to a lot of people that sitting at home makes you so anxious and whatever. And if it's any kind of just like stir up this negative stuff, I've always tried to be really intentional about putting that stuff out. Just I feel like there's enough things in people's lives that are gonna bring them some kind of grief or stress or something like that, and it shouldn't come from other people. Like I'm big on the lifting up, just because I think it does as much for you as it does for the other person. And my mother was that way, man. I think our currency was always love. Like I said, she single mom with 3 kids, and she cut hair. And I remember doing my taxes for the first time, and she told me how much she claimed and all this stuff. I was like, how did you feed us and you did not pull all your hair out? And I never saw the lady blink or anything like that. And, I marry a lady who goes through what I've seen her go through, and knowing how I would react and lose my mind is just graceful in walking through it, and even with people that are trying to tear her down. And so I think, there's not a lot you can control, but you controlling your energy, I think, is a huge deal. And, that's something me and Chandler have shared, and Noah, and people in the space that I've come in contact with and choose to be around. And I think it is a choice. We talk about that all the time, about how you keep your circles close and stuff like that. And it's, I'll love on everybody, but who I'll choose to interact with is based on how you do that. And because it tells me a lot about you and what you're about is how you treat people and the kind of energy you put out. So that means a lot, man. I'm pretty intentional about that.
Well, it's awesome, because we actually put out a poll, and that's where you kind of found us. Is we asked our listeners who they wanted to see on the podcast, and you came back a couple times. So that's I posted funny. Your picture and tagged you in it. And I was like, yeah, we got to have him on, because when I met you were definitely one of those genuinely just super cool dudes. And I was excited to have you on.
No, I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. And I used to tell everybody I'm sat here trying to do stuff to make my mom proud. And so now, having a kid, man, and, I'm never at a loss for words, and it's still hard for me to kind of articulate just things I didn't get growing up, right? Like I wasn't very close to my dad. So there are things, you try to run up this list of like things I want to teach you and all this. And, I just, as proud as I am of my mother and who she was and the things I've taken from her growing up, just how she, how she loves people, how she handles stress, no matter what is going on around her. Those are things that make me proud, and just, showing how God works through her and stuff like that. Like I want my kid to be able to grow up and see stuff like that, and not me have to tell her. My mom's never had to tell me any of these things. I just know. And I've called her since I've been 30 and either thanked her for butt whoopings or asked her, how did you keep your cool during all this stuff? Because it's, you're a superhero. So, that's perspectives change, man. But it's, kind of the approach is the same. So still want my mama to be proud, but I hope the little girl kind of picks up on all of it and she's proud at some point too.
Well, with Mother's Day coming up now, you got two moms that you get to
Oh,
celebrate next week.
We
right?
all get two birthdays now. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm excited about that, man. She is not big on receiving gifts and stuff. So I'm excited. And even if, I don't know, it's nuts, man. I'm super excited for her to get to do that stuff. And yeah, she's really good at it. Other than us having to do a lot of dishes, I say us, she does more than I do because she gets up at night, but breast pumps have a lot of parts. There's just so many things you learn.
Yes, they do.
There's so many versions.
Hard to clean.
So,
yeah.
They scare you with how you have to clean them, right? It's like,
right.
Oh, you better sterilize this thing like you live in a hospital or your kid's going to get sick. Oh, no, we put them in the dishwasher. Heat dry. Okay. It's been, we're 10 weeks deep and she's still alive and kicking, so it's got to be right. It's just an experiment we're doing here. So
wait till you have a second one. It won't really matter at that point
at all.
Oh,
no.
So this is Chris Walker is a few years older, right? Like he was an old man on the team, and he and his wife have had just the largest, most beautiful kids you've ever seen. I think all of them weighed 10 pounds coming out, just gargantuan children, beautiful kids. And Casey is full-time mom, and so she's like our point of reference because I was like, all right, you've been through version 1, 2, and 3, and what's the best practice? She's like, don't worry about it, throw it in the dishwasher. I was like, okay, because that's what it is. They were like, and I asked her, I said, because we're getting to the point now where like when you're able to get out of the house, I think in Texas they're opening up patios, which I'm gonna sit still for a little while longer, especially after getting like a little spout here for 2 days and freaking out. I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna have to go live in the streets for 2 weeks. But I said, when you went to get like babysitters and stuff, I was like, how touchy were you? She was like, with the first one, oh, background check. I'm calling 10 references. Second one, I'll literally hand to a stranger. I said, oh my God. All right. So don't be picky, but not crazy. All right. Got it. I'm so excited for all that stuff. That's why I joke with Marilyn. I was like, I can't wait to be just an old dad. She's like, we're not going to get old. I was like, we're definitely going to get old.
Yeah.
We're going to be old porch swing people. That's okay. It's, some people don't get there. But I'm looking forward to it, man. And it's so funny. Like 3 years ago, I thought, I'm planning for masters and to do team as long as I can and all this stuff. And while those things are still cool and I would still participate if I'm able, if I couldn't, it's not a big deal right now just because there's a lot of, most of the things on my list I've ever wanted in my life are sitting in the living room, and it's I'm pretty pumped and blessed and content and looking forward to where all these things go and kind of the road we're on right now.
Well, on that note, thanks a bunch for doing this. We had a blast this hour, and we're so glad you did it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, thank you guys so much, man. I'm super excited, and then super good talking to you guys. Great name. I'm so pissed I didn't get that name.
Well, we wish you luck with parenthood and training and your move. So we hope that all goes well for you.
Oh, man, we are going to pay somebody to do that this time.
Good.
But no, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys for having me so much.
No problem.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, Dex.
Bye. Soon.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
Bye.
So that was a lot of fun. You guys have fun with that interview?
Totally.
He's a fun guy for sure. So bright and happy. Love it.
And the best thing you can do right now is go onto your Instagram, find Dex, and then look at his before and after with beard and then without beard. It does not even look like the same person.
At all. Yeah, the person I thought I was interviewing is not the person that we actually interviewed. No, just because of the photos. I was like, wait, I was expecting this. Oh, look at what we got here. Yeah.
Yeah, I showed my wife and she was like, holy shit. I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Totally new guy.
Yeah.
So a little bit of news for the week. One of our very own co-hosts of this show was featured in the Morning Chalk Up.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
And that is because something really awesome happened. So, Kat, do you want to fill everybody in on?
Yeah, so I'm like a little CrossFit famous right about now. I opened an affiliate. So I've been training out of my garage under the name Catalyst Fitness for the last 2.5 years. And I finally got the courage and had the funds to go ahead and make it officially a CrossFit affiliate. So now, as of May 1st, we are now CrossFit Clarity. A couple of our taglines are, it's clear, we're different, because I'm trying to really focus on this one-on-one and small group class model, which just happens to fit right along with the whole COVID-19 reopening plan of social distancing. And so what I originally thought was going to be this big move into a big warehouse, 3,000 square feet to get more people in the door, it's turning into a little bit of a blessing in disguise, and that sort of all has been crumbling. And we're just going to stick it out here in the garage and see what happens. But, I'm basically able now to sort of use the CrossFit name in my marketing. And I'm really trying to attract people that, would probably never step foot in a CrossFit gym. Because let's face it, from a health perspective, the majority of people that actually need CrossFit in their lives right now probably wouldn't go into a CrossFit gym. And so I offer this private setting where they can get, really great coaching and sort of an introduction to the methodology in a, really not scary, unintimidating, environment. So that's kind of what we're going for right now.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
And how many of our guests have said, who's got the sweet home gym?
All right.
As soon as they come on the interview. So
now we say it's an affiliate.
It's not your average, ordinary garage gym. It is a ramped up, jacked up, full-fledged CrossFit gym.
So
It's
my
a bona
t-shirt
fide
is-
affiliate now. What's that, Charlie?
My t-shirt's in the mail then. Is
I
that
know.
okay?
So it's so funny you say that. So I've done such a good job of branding the gym as Catalyst Fitness that there are stickers everywhere. You can't look anywhere now and take a picture and not see the orange and black and the Catalyst Fitness. So I'm going to have to go on a major rebranding initiative here. And I'm working with a graphic designer starting on Monday. I do have the start of a logo that I think is going to probably stick, but I got a lot of work to do. So yeah, more to come on that for sure.
So that is awesome, and congratulations from
Thank
all
you.
of us. We're so happy for you. It's so cool.
How about you?
What I want to talk about now is an article that was written by Tommy Marquez for the Morning Chalk Up, and then he kind of reiterated on Talking Elite Fitness. And that is this concept that when you look at the registrations from the CrossFit Open last year, 50% of the people who signed up to participate were an age group eligible person, meaning either a teen athlete or a 35 plus athlete. And he kind of contends that it's always, it's always that group that kind of gets canceled or shut out or not communicated to, yet they are 50% of your revenue. And so I just kind of wanted to we're all masters athletes. We're all 35 plus. And so what are your thoughts about that?
Long pause.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go first. Okay, it's 50% of the Open. That's great. The Open is not for everyone doesn't consider it a qualifier for the CrossFit Games, right? I don't consider it a qualifier for the CrossFit. I consider it, a way to throw down with my box mates once a week, and it's like a community event, and isn't it fun, and let's test our fitness and all of that. So I think from a community perspective, I get that, it's more than 50% of the people are coming from those age groups. But when you think about CrossFit as a sport, the Open is just a very small part of the pie. Maybe not income-wise for HQ, but as a sport, it's like the very first step, right? It's not that significant. And I still, I know I'm a master's athlete, and I know I've said before, like, gosh, it'd be great when I turn 50, I'll be good enough to get to the games, and wouldn't that be fun? But I don't understand all the boo-hooing about the masters not getting attention and not getting, airtime and things like that. It's more of a hobby sport for us than a sports sport, I guess. And I'm okay if sponsors don't sponsor teens and masters, and they only really focus on, the Open individuals or the Open age group. I don't know. I've always felt that way. And I always kind of roll my eyes when people get upset about that lack of, coverage and lack of accolades for doing it. Yeah, it's hard. It's great. You work hard, but I don't know anybody whose full-time job it is as a teenager or as a master's athlete to just go to the CrossFit Games. That's just me.
So my thoughts, just to be transparent, since I brought it up, is that I kind of agree with you. They truly are a subset of the whole, right? None of them, well, I shouldn't say none of them. Most of them are not in the top 100 in the open and the best athletes in the world, or they would be in the open individual ranks. And so no sport treats the subset better than they treat the main open division, whatever that might be.
Let's not forget Sam Briggs. Sorry, just throwing that out there.
Right. That's why I said most.
Yeah, I know you did.
But what I think CrossFit doesn't do right is they don't communicate with that subset, who are a very large portion of the CrossFit community. The announcement that the age group online or the age group divisions were going to be canceled was made on social media. There was no special email, and it didn't even have to be special. It could have been a group email to those individuals that qualified to say, hey, this is what we're doing, before it went public on social media. I just think there's a couple little steps they could take to make it a little bit better. And Tommy and Sean had a great idea. Rogue, we were going to volunteer at Rogue. It didn't happen. They sent us a pair of Reebok shoes. Why couldn't they get with Reebok and say, hey, send all these people a jersey to show that they were going to be at the games, so they have a jersey from 2020, even though it didn't happen, just as kind of a memento? It would have been a low-cost way just to kind of appease that group. But then instead, they just said on social media, we're done.
Yeah, but we don't know that they're not going to do that, right? I mean, that still is something that could happen. But I think the bottom line is, let's face it, HQ is not in the customer service PR business. They're just not. And I don't think it's not top of mind. It's not something that they sort of consider. And there's probably arguments, one way or the other that they should, but they just don't. And I think for people to have the expectation is a little foolish, only because, we've been following them for years now. We sort of know how they operate, and it's kind of like to be expected. And I know it's still unfortunate, and I know people still get upset about it, but like, they're very unapologetic, HQ, about things like that. And it's just not what they're interested in doing, unfortunately.
So I would say that I agree with you that mostly people are doing it as a hobby. But for those it's a big deal to, it's a big deal too. So, if there are some teen athletes or some masters athletes that do, sure, we all put our heart and soul in it, but that is their main focus or drive for whatever that personal goal is. So I see that aspect where I think there could be, sure, Schweitzer, I think there could be a little bit better communication, but again, like Kat says, they're not in the business of communication, right? We already know that about them.
And I agree, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't be.
I agree with that too. I agree with that. My whole thinking, like, I agree with Kat about like the coverage and that sort of thing. My only thing with that is like, I would just like to have information of like, okay, I get you're not going to put the masters or the teens on the main channel or whatever it is, the main screen, but let me know where I can find them or watch them, some coverage. For me, that would feel a little bit more respectful in that sense of honoring their work, but also realizing that the income that they're bringing to the games and that is different from the individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the ones that, they do make it their full-time job, let's say, and they have sponsors and it's like their livelihood and everything else. It's not like CrossFit gave those age groups a lot of attention and then took it away. Like, they've never had it, right? So if you've been doing this for 5-6 years and you're in this master's game and you're in your age group division and everything else, like, you should know what to expect, right? And if you want something different, pick another sport. go into weightlifting. Like weightlifting, I think has way better coverage for masters athletes, and it's sometimes just as competitive. You know, and maybe there's some other sports that, you know, translate from CrossFit over. Weightlifting is just kind of the one I think of immediately. But again, it's like, it's not like they gave us all this and then took it away from us. I don't think.
And I do think, like, okay, I think the CrossFit brand, yes, that is specifically with the games. But like, if you look at Wadapalooza, that's one of the things I love about Wadapalooza is they do highlight all the different sort of age divisions and the adaptive athletes and that. So I think we could start seeing maybe some more sanctionals that might be highlighting that a little bit more. But I don't see it happening CrossFit specific.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And Granite Games too does a great job of highlighting those masters athletes. I had thought last year that maybe some of the age group online qualifying thing would go away and they would just have sanctioned events for masters. And you have to go to Granite Games, you have to go to Wadapalooza, or go to one of the, you know, Live and Louds that's going to support age groups, and that's how you qualify for the games too. So I just hope that CrossFit doesn't get rid of age groups altogether. Because, you know, if you're thinking future state and if they need to streamline and do things differently, and if this whole professional sport climate changes for, you know, more permanently because of COVID-19 and everything else, you know, those age groups could go away completely.
And there is Debbie Downer back again.
I know, sorry. It's realistic, Sally.
All right, let's move into something a little more fun. Let's talk about our favorite thing from the internet this week. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since I'm Downer.
Okay, bring it back up, Kat.
Yes, this is real quick. Babies are happening on the internet. So a couple things. Miranda. Alcaraz had her baby, finally, baby Banner. He was like 2 weeks late or something ridiculous. She was losing her mind. She finally had a baby healthy. Lauren Brooks, remember Lauren Brooks from the Southeast region? She is having a baby. Her oldest is 10 years old, I think. She's having a baby with her new husband. I think they're having a girl. She's due in September. And we probably all know Telena Fortunato, who is also Lauren Brooks' BFF. She's having a baby boy, and I think she's due in like 2 weeks. So lots of happy baby news on Instagram.
I can tell you who's not having a baby.
Yeah, same. Never again.
Yeah.
Never
Well,
again.
Speaking of babies, sorry, Charlie, I'm going to just jump on this ship because my thing from the internet, I don't know if it's the greatest thing, but it's just something that's stuck in my mind. And it's this.
Oh, yes.
You know what this is?
Zenhaga 12?
This is Elon Musk's new baby name. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I know that this stands for unknown variable. This is Elfian for artificial intelligence, and this is the name of their favorite plane.
It stands for I don't ever have to work a day in my life.
Right.
That is the X variable right there.
The X variable.
You solved it, Charlie.
Yep.
All right, Charlie, what's yours?
It's Scott's.
You're passing to me?
I'm passing to you.
So that means I have to do two?
Sure.
All right.
I'll do three.
Well,
Why not?
So first, for Charlie, I'll do Charlie's. The fact that it was announced this week that Hafthor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall are going to box each other. Each paid seven figures. I don't know what the exact number of that is, but 7 figures, so over $1 million to get in the ring and fight. That is the biggest boxing match in the history of the world.
We gonna make bets on this.
Do we have a date and time for this? Location?
It's like 18 months away because they both have to learn how to box.
Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of sweet science, a lot of butterbeanish throwing haymakers.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be haymaker after haymaker, hoping something connects.
Yeah.
And whose cardio goes out first. So then the second one I'll take for myself is Tommy and Sean are doing this new thing on their podcast called Podium Picks, where they pick a subject and they do their top 3 of that subject each week. And so this week, their podium picks were for best sweet treat. That dessert that you just, when you're around it, you've got to have it. And so I just want to pose to you guys, what is that one sweet treat that you have to have when you're near there?
Now, is this baked or is it like candy?
Anything sweet, high carb, low protein.
I know what mine is.
Well,
I know what yours is too, but go ahead.
What would you say mine is?
Ice cream.
100%. But I'll go even more specific because I'm really not a dessert person, but ice cream is something I cannot stay away from. But you give me a Blizzard from Dairy Queen with Reese's Cups. I'm done. See ya. That's mine.
Vanilla ice cream?
Yes, vanilla ice cream.
Do they put the peanut butter syrup in it or no?
No.
Okay, because Friendly's makes a Frenzy with the vanilla soft serve, and they do peanut butter cups, but they put a peanut butter syrup on it, and I have to tell them not to do that, just to do the vanilla ice cream and the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
And it's
So do the twins have the same sweet treat thing?
well, I could go with that. I mean, I can remember there was an ice cream store when I was a teenager called Temptations that was right by my high school, and I would go there probably every day and get a scoop of vanilla ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups on it. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Fun fact, Scott and I both worked at ice cream stores in high school. Not the same one.
See, there's no way I could do that.
Charlie?
If I had to go to a candy, I'm going to go with Skittles. How dare you?
Right?
Love Skittles. Got me through my master's.
Absolutely. They're fantastic.
Who are you, Marshawn Lynch?
Could be. Beast mode. So I'll go with Skittles.
So mine, very specifically, is there's a donut shop in my hometown. I'm not even a donut fan, but it is a mom and pop donut shop. Been there like 50 years. And they make these things called a maple roll. So it's twisted like a cinnamon roll. And then baked, fried, whatever they do with the donut, I don't even know. And then maple icing on the top with shredded coconut.
You had me until coconut, but yeah, that sounds delicious.
And the coconut is toasted shredded coconut on the top. And that is my dad and I's favorite thing in the whole wide world. And I'm not a big sweets guy, but that thing, every time I'm home, I hope they're out of them when I pass the donut shop so that I don't get one.
So this is called and Friends, and I have not tasted this, so I'm really questioning this and Friends thing. Why haven't I had this yet?
Because if I put those in my car, they ain't making it the 4-hour trip back to Columbus. Just being honest.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that qualifies.
Well, hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notifier, leave a review, leave a comment, do all that kind of stuff. We totally appreciate you. You guys have been awesome, and we can't wait to give you more content. So until next time, this has been the Clydesdale CrossFitter and Friends.
Bye.
See ya.